Bill Nye the Science Guy, who, let me remind you, is not a fucking science guy, testified in front of Congress today on the impacts of climate change on Homeland Security. No! Just that sentence alone is so stupid that I don't even know where to start. Bill Nye, the science dweeb, is not a climate scientist. He, in fact, is not even a scientist. Leftists are great at word manipulation and sloganeering, so this guy is just about as much of a science guy as Dr. Dre is a doctor. Bill Nye has a bachelor's of science in mechanical engineering, not climate scientist. Even his Wikipedia page says he's a, quote, science communicator, aka not a scientist. Bill Nye the Non-Science Guy was a mechanical engineer at Boeing until 1986, where he then began his career into comedy. He pursued comedy for about 5 to 6 years until he became literally a kid's cartoon character on a supposed science show where he wore a lab coat and was basically a science dweeb for children. Bill Nye is as much a science guy as Snoop Dogg is a dog. He's as much of a science guy as Waka Flocka is a flame. First of all, how in the fudge brownie is Bill Nye the Non-Science Guy, mechanical engineer, polka-dot bow-tie science dweeb, qualified to testify on climate science in front of the U.S. Congress? Secondly, what in the smushed, moldy garbanzo beans does this dude know about Homeland Security? Now, don't get me wrong, this guy is definitely highly experienced at conducting wacky experiments for kids on television, but this guy is science adjacent at best. This dude was a big supporter of Barack Obama, is an ardent supporter of the Green New Deal, and is a total leftist shill. In 2017, he said that most climate change deniers are older people, so we'll just have to, quote, wait for them to age out. In 2020, he went to Twitter to endorse Joey Basement for president, suggesting that you should vote on behalf of, quote, climate change and science. Oh, science. Cool. His testimony, which was nothing more than regurgitating leftist talking points, also covered things that had nothing to do with climate change at all. And he talked about things like hiring the right coders and engineers to prevent ransomware attacks, assuring you that these coders and engineers that wanted to prevent these ransomware attacks, well, they would rather work for the government than the private sector because it's, quote, more satisfying work. What are you talking about, Bill?
Will cultivate a generation of civil servants that people believe in and trust, hiring the kind of engineers, coders, developers who will prevent a cyber attack of any kind. And they would work for the U.S. government, they would take pride in their work, we would trust them, they would prefer to work for the government rather than the private sector because of the job satisfaction you get from that.
Oh, they would prefer to work for the U.S. government because of the job satisfaction that they would get from that. Oh, so he's a climate scientist, a homeland security expert, and he knows that you'll be more satisfied with a government job versus working in the private sector. What doesn't he know? What's probably a little bit more likely is that they think we're dumb, and they think because we saw this guy on TV when we were younger that we'll trust him now. Luckily, free-thinking individuals who can't be persuaded by a meaningless title like The Science Guy and don't worship at the altar of celebrities and familiar faces can see right through this.